What are you running for, sir?
I'm running for District 92 State Representative. Thank you all for gathering here today at the Marshall County Veterans Outreach. I want to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to every veteran present and those that have served our great nation. Your sacrifices have safeguarded our freedoms and preserved the very fabric of America. It's because of your courage and dedication that we enjoy the liberties we hold dear. Veterans are the backbones of our national defense, and their well-being must be a priority. That's why I strongly support expanding outreach programs that help reintegrate veterans into society, providing them with the skills and opportunities they deserve after service. I'm Chadwick, a lifelong Tennessean born at Baptist Hospital. I'm a Christian who places faith above all else, a family man who holds his loved ones close, and a patriot who loves the state and our republic deeply. I was raised on a horse farm in College Grove. Growing up there, I learned the values of hard work, integrity, honesty, and critical thinking lessons that have shaped every step of my journey. I've worked in construction, managed corporate food operations, run my own personal training business, and even competed as a champion bodybuilder. These diverse experiences have taught me one vital truth: I don't know everything. I must remain coachable, adaptable, and willing to collaborate with those who have expertise where I'm short. This humility and openness to listen makes me the strongest candidate to represent you. Our state is currently at a crossroads. I've seen Tennessee change over the years, and I'm deeply concerned about the future we're leaving to our children. Our current representatives have too often shown themselves to be cowards, more interested in mudslinging than in finding common ground or solutions that serve the people. Worse, many voices like mine have been silenced. I was removed from the Republican ballot along with many others because this is no longer a true election. This is now a selection. This process is controlled by the elites who want to keep the power away from the voters. But I'm not backing down. I stand with we the people against the establishments that seek to control our votes and our voices. Here are the principles and policies that I'm running to champion. I want to abolish property tax. If you're paying for it, you don't own it. That's just simple as that. We can find ways to offset that property tax and give true freedom to all Americans, and especially the Tennesseans. We need to reduce government spending by cutting unnecessary programs, and I would love to cut appointed positions in favor of elected ones. Appointed positions often lead to nepotism. Introduce water treatment legislation for on-site water disposal and reclamation. This, along with well use to support agriculture, viticulture, horticulture, and other high water needs, could offset some of our high water issues that we're currently experiencing. I want to reform education standards. This goes to this man's question. Critical thinking skills. We failed. Common Core and No Child Left Behind has failed an entire generation. That's why our children aren't making the right amount of money. That's why morality is going down the hill. We have to return the basics of arithmetic, writing. We need to eliminate the Common Core, put vocational and agriculture back into all high schools for skilled youth ready to enter the workforce. This will make us more competitive with other states in the future. We have to do this. We have to put our children first. They're the next generation. We're going to age out. We have to have them. We need to improve youth physical education standards as well and bring fresh, healthy food options into schools, integrating nutrition education into the science curriculum. Being into bodybuilding and personal training over the last 5 years, I've learned what food does to you. Food controls your hormones. They dictate those. Hormones dictate not only how you look, but how you think and feel. So if we could, on the front end, catch this, we can mitigate obesity. We can mitigate medical bills, but we can also mitigate the mental illness, the crazy depression that we're seeing in so many people these days. That's hormonally driven. That has everything to do with nutrition and food. Those two things, if we have a critical thinking youth, along with a healthy, fit youth, we have a moral youth that's vested in their community, that's vested in God. We need to reform driver education to address Tennessee's poor driver record. We're 8th in the nation right now. It's the worst state. Driving etiquette is just out the window. People don't even know how to maintenance their cars anymore. You stop at a red light, you hear the ticking of the cam because they didn't check their oil. They got tires blowing out going down the road. You know, simple things we could do in high school, half a semester. You know, teach these kids just a little bit of road etiquette, how to check their cars, maintenance, so we're not having so many issues on our already overpopulated roads. We need to overhaul our infrastructure to meet the demands of our growing population, our roads, water, and electricity. They're just not keeping pace. I would like to reduce bureaucratic regulations that arbitrarily resist private property improvements. I don't think you need a license or a permit for every single thing you do on your own property. I want to ban harmful substances like phthalates, microplastics, and endocrine disruptors in our food. Again, that affects the hormones that affect how we think, feel, and look. I would also like to have health and beauty products clearly label those ingredients and their potential harms. I would like to enforce our airspace protections. We banned weather modification chemicals in 2024, but they're still spraying those chemicals over our head every day. I would like to conduct a full investigation into the Department of Children's Services. The February 23rd, 2026 report of the 2025 audit stated that every single night of 2025, a child had to stay in a DCS facility overnight because they failed to have a transition home. Those children were being trafficked between transition homes. Those children were being bid on like cattle. Who was going to adopt them? There's multiple sexual abuse allegations. And there were children failing drug tests for methamphetamine. This is a $94 billion a year organization. Are we going to keep paying these guys to let them traffic our children and let them use drugs, take children out of homes under anonymous phone calls? Section 9 of the Tennessee State Constitution says anonymous witnesses aren't valid. How many times has someone called into DCS just because they didn't like somebody and ruined someone's lives? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. I think an autocratic, bureaucratic, unelected organization has too much power. I would like to ensure voter integrity by investigating the ballot systems and election process. We absolutely have to make sure our elections are secure. I want to legalize cannabis for both recreation and medical use, tax fairly without unconstitutional levies, but with strict quality controls. I want to prohibit dual citizens from holding high office in Tennessee to protect our state's sovereignty. I don't believe if you're beholden to another foreign interest that you have our best interest at heart. I support banning lab-grown meat, which I believe threatens local farmers and our food independence. I also support banning the fluoride in our drinking water. I don't think extra added chemicals benefit anyone. If you want fluoride, just use fluoridated toothpaste. I champion home ownership, local farmers, and small businesses, because true independence begins with ownership. Owning your land is owning your livelihood. We have 40% investor interest, as you had stated. How much has that arbitrarily inflated property values to where the common man can't buy homes anymore? So much, right? The renter's market is a by design, elitist way to control your ownership. When you own a home, you have full vested interest in defense, vested interest in your community, you have a better morale. We must get back to owning our homes. We must get back to supporting our local farmers and our local small businesses. That is the true essence of a free America, and that is true liberty. My campaign slogan is simple but powerful. I stand with we the people. I'm here to fight for you, restore your voice in government, and protect the values that make Tennessee strong. Thank you for your service, your time, and your trust. Together we can reclaim our state and secure a brighter future for all Tennesseans. God bless you all, God bless Tennessee, and God bless America.
Where do you currently reside?
I'm in Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Well, about 15 years now. It's too expensive to live in College Grove.
Do you have children of your own school? Go to-
Yeah, so I've got a 19-year-old daughter, I've got a 1-year-old granddaughter, I've got a 6-year-old boy that's in Chapel Hill School, and I've got a 3-year-old daughter. So I got a pretty good spread there.
So you're well invested in the schools there?
Very well invested in schools, not only for my children, but for all children's sake. Again, we're gonna time out one day. I'm gonna be old. I'm gonna need help. We're gonna have a younger generation that has to make these decisions and do the things we need to do. Every generation over the last 40 years has outpaced the one before, except Gen Z. They're the first generation that did not outpace their parents. That is a critical failure on us as parents and on us managing and monitoring our public education system. This is something we're already paying for. Whether you put your children in private school or not, you're paying taxes. You're paying for a public education system. And the blowback is, well, why don't you teach your children this when they get home? Look, man, you got two parents working until 6 p.m. getting home. All right, that's the only way they can afford that home. You think they want to come home and teach their children an hour class? No, they want to spend time with them. We need that public education system to do what the parents need done. We're paying for it. It's time for it to start working for us. We need critical thinking children. Smart children have better morale. They come to God. They have a better vested interest in the community. They have the money to buy a home. It's pretty common sense there.
How do you feel about the NEA?
I'm sorry?
How do you feel about the NEA?
NEA, could you tell me what that is?
National Education Association.
I would have to familiarize myself with that a little more, and I will admit, I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know enough about that.
They're the ones that explore our education.
Okay, well, I will look more into that.
National Teachers Union is
National Teachers Union, I'm totally against the teachers union. I'm against anything that's gonna protect a child or a teacher that is unwilling to do their job. I think we have a very big issue with lackadaisical teachers allowing certain things in classrooms that don't belong there. We only need arithmetic and writing, right, and science. We don't need social, doctrine or anything like that in school. We just don't need it. But we also have teachers that aren't even willing to teach those subjects. And that's an issue that we have in our teachers union, absolutely.
They can't sign their names.
No, they don't know how to use cursive anymore. But that's by design because the documents were written in cursive.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna use what you discussed as an example. There's a lot of bills, sorry, they get passed every year, but they have no teeth
Yeah,
in the law. So these planes flying over, dumping stuff or not dumping stuff, I know the Air Force has been into it. The problem is they pass these bills to say, hey, I'm running next year and I passed this bill.
right,
You guys need to vote for me.
right.
There's no teeth in it. Kind of like you're not supposed to vote, if you're a Republican, you're not supposed to vote a Democrat primary, and if you're a Democrat, you're not supposed to vote a Republican primary. They made a law against it,
Right.
but there's no teeth in it. There's
Right.
nobody to investigate it, there's nobody to do the charging, and the only time they do it is if it's somebody they don't want in office. So that's the only time the DA or the Secretary of State will do anything about it,
Yeah,
if it's somebody they don't want in office. So the problem with a lot of these bills that they're passing is it's just fluff.
right.
It's all smoke and mirrors to get me reelected.
Well, it's headlines.
It's-
So,
it's all
and
for
I think
headlines.
that's
So
the biggest
We
part.
have to put teeth into these bills when we
Right.
pass them, so that something can be done when they're not abided by. Kind of like the
Absolutely.
library thing going on in Murfreesboro. They fired the librarian because she wouldn't move the books
Right.
out of the kids section to the adult section,
Right,
because there's a law against it. But she wouldn't do it, so the city council had to go fire her, or the county commission, I'm not sure who it was, had to go fire her. They need to have teeth in the law. You can't just pass laws willy-nilly and they're never gonna do anything about it.
right. There needs to be oversight and, some kind of follow through with that. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think that's where a lot of Americans and Tennesseans are fed up with the system right now. You have the headlines of two sides. You got the 10% here and the 10% there, and all they care about is who's making the noise and who has the money. And you got 80% in the middle here. No one's talking about us anymore. They failed us. They're not talking about the high prices of everything. They're not talking about the struggles that we're going through every day, or the worries that that keep us up at night. And that's the big issue I think we're seeing a lot of times right now in our current system. Yes, sir.
And then the second thing is, because I hear it all the time, because I'm also running for the same office,
Yes, sir.
is school choice. How do you feel about school choice?
So I feel parents should have choice in schools. However, I am against the voucher program. I don't think that, because with the, what, was it 70 or 80% of those people that received the vouchers were already in private schools, so why are we rewarding people that can already afford private school? Again, we're being forced to pay for public school out of our tax dollars as it is now. So our public schools should outperform and outpace our private schools. Our children have a readily available access to public schools, every single one of them, not private, but public schools. So we need to focus on our public schools, get rid of the Rockefeller education design to where you just push a button, but you don't ask questions, and go back to critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills leads to liberty, because questioning your government is the most American thing you can do.
What do you feel about the water shortage in this
I
area?
feel like it's a disaster.
We know that.
Yeah, so I sat in a little bit of the mayor meeting in Chapel Hill before I came down here, and they're talking about buying, quite a bit of water from Bedford County. You've got the dam, people are talking about the dam. I have mixed feelings about the dam. I know there's a lot of people that are for it because of the water reservoirs, but then I talked to one city leader that told me if we could only get that dam 5 to 10 foot taller and just go and get it filled, we could figure it out 15 years down the road. I didn't like that statement at all, because all I heard was we're gonna kick the can down the road for 15 years. So we're gonna destroy an economic system or an ecosystem, and then we're gonna potentially have to take more land that's already been developed on to create a lake that's the size of Percy Priest almost. I don't know how much I'm really sold on that over the pipe.
How karst is the system?
I'm sorry?
How many caves are in the system, in that area? Will it even hold water?
Right, that, and how smart was the planning that got us to this point?
I don't know.
You know, they overbuilt and they overplanned, they didn't think about it, they didn't think about the water on the front end, and now they're scrambling on the back end. That's not our fault, that's the city's fault, that's the county's fault, okay? We shouldn't be made to suffer for their issue or their fault. But we do have to find a comprehensive plan. I'm sorry.
That falls in with all these homes coming in here.
Yes, sir, yeah, and that right there is investor home interest. A lot of this is investor home interest that's come in. A lot of these homes wouldn't have even been built had not those investors saw the mass migration down here and was like, you know what, let's go down there, swoop up a ton of homes so they can't own, but they gotta pay us because they're going there anyway. So we got the raw end of the deal, especially if you're a local, because you had people coming from California selling a 1,300 square foot home for $1.5 million. They come down here and buy a McMansion $300,000, and they still got $750 to $1,250 to sit on, right? We didn't have it. Our income, basic income down here on the high end was $17 an hour before all this. I mean, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to have all these people come in here. Now, I get it did raise some of the income, basic income, or the average. And I get it raised some of our education level. But should we have depended on outsiders for that? No, we should depend on our own people, our own local people. We're failing our own local people. Yes, sir.
I have a question about the groups that sits in.
Yes, sir.
So, this is something I never fully understood, is the dual citizenship is protected under federal law. So even if the state were to pass on them, it would still be overruled by the federal government, no matter what you think, in regards to that. It's gonna be, so my question is, and I get this all the time with a lot of the bills that you guys want to bring up to the government, and knowing that it's gonna be shot down by the federal government, why waste the resources and time when we could be worrying about other issues instead of something like that? Because I see that a lot, where you know it's gonna go to the federal level, it's gonna be shot down, because it's a violation of your protected federal rights, whether we agree with it or not. But, you know, to me, you guys, not you, but I mean, they up there doing all this, when we could be working on other things.
I do agree on one part there, that we should focus on what affects the common man first before we get into what we disagree on and swing over. We can always worry about what we don't agree on later. That's one of the biggest things we've lost, is being able to debate, agree to disagree, and come to a common consensus for common man. We've lost it totally. So I agree with you there. However, I think some of these things should be brought up, just so they're brought to the attention of the federal government. Hey, we don't accept this, we don't like this, because sometimes states have to lead the way. So if we lead the way with this charge, we get other states to follow, the federal government could follow eventually. Because I do truly believe that if you're beholden to a foreign interest, you're not gonna have our best interests at heart.
I'm just wondering, that's just something I've never fully understood is, I get it, but, you bring it up to me, it's just a waste of time. We have more issues here that are more relevant to Marshall County than something,
Yeah, and that's priority.
than American rights. I just feel like that's just a waste of resources. That's just.
And I appreciate your concern there. And again, I think that's where priority goes into question. So we work on what benefits everyone first, and then we look at what we can do later on that could change the system, but not cost the taxpayer a ton of money. Because that's kind of where I like to line things up. I don't like wasting money. I'm a common man. I'm not a rich man. I don't own a big business, and I never have. I've worked small jobs, construction. I've worked corporate food. The biggest thing I've run is 7 restaurants at a time, All right. I've run multi-million-dollar units. I've done personal training, and I run my own personal training business. I don't have a huge conglomerate of anything like that, okay? I'm just a regular guy. I pay the same taxes. I go through the same things everyone else does every day. And I think that's what gives me an edge on this. Because I have to deal with the same things you do, pay the same bills. I worry about the same things. I'm not a part of no elite organization, and I'm not a fake outsider trying to come in. I'm a true outsider. I've never ran for political office. I've never been that interested in running for political office. I only do it now because I feel compelled to by God. I got sick and tired of watching what's happening in the state and worrying about my children's future, that I had to get up and do something. Yes, sir.
I worry about how you can communicate with the people. I mean, we have a senator out of Knoxville, Tim Burchett,
Mhm.
that is very good at it on YouTube. He's very open, he tells you what's going on. And you, if you would get elected, would you do something like that? Be able to talk to the people?
Absolutely. I believe in transparency and openness, 100%, because that's exactly what we have today as a hidden government. These guys they're not forthcoming. They're not transparent. We need integrity,
Yes.
transparency, and we need control on those things. That's another reason I want to get rid of a lot of the appointed positions, because I just don't feel like there's enough oversight on it, one. And two, you're gonna have to go through an election process, so you will get voted out. I think transparency is one of our largest issues. Absolutely. And it's destructive to our civil liberties. It truly is. You can't have a free society without a transparent government. It just doesn't work.
Anybody got anything else?
Sir, we appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
No problem. Thank you, Mark.
And thank you, Vince, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening.